Hey there, fellow maker. Hey there, Bender. How you been, buddy? I've been driving Bender around a lot, getting a lot of good miles in on our new tires. In fact, I brought him down to Protopasta for an event last weekend, and he got to show off his current state to anyone who was there. It was a ton of fun. I want to thank you all for leaving a ton of great comments and awesome feedback on this project. It's been super, super helpful. Please keep that up. People wanted to know if we were going to make his head animatronic. Yes. We'll have moving eyes. He'll have an animated mouth somehow, eventually. And I do want the head to be able to turn. I basically want him to be puppetable. I want him to be able to say stuff from the show and respond to people. So that'll all be coming up in the future. Today we are going to tackle the headlights and the taillights because I do want them to light up. Gonna have to do a little work under the hood here to get our lights working. I was able to buy an off-the-shelf solution for I think $7. This plugs right into the receiver for your RC car, and it has two white headlights and two red rear lights. And it just plugs right in and turns on when the car turns on. Couldn't be any simpler. I will, however, have to modify this a little bit. I want to add a switch so I can turn the lights on and off. And also I probably have to lengthen it. We have quite a ways to go from one light to the next. So we'll end up doing a little soldering. The kit comes with these metal bezels that I'm not going to use. Then the rest of it is just 4 LEDs and a plug. And I think I want to put a switch in line here. I also think I want to put a connector here so I can unplug it from the receiver without pulling it out of the receiver. This is kind of difficult to get in there. Because I will need to detach this from the car chassis whenever I take the car body off. So the first thing I want to do is a connector and a switch. Let's get that soldering iron fired up. Real quick, I want to show you how this works. The receiver has the speed control and the steering plugged into it, but I can plug my lighting rig into that, like so. And I want to leave that in there because it's such a pain, and I'll put another connector up here so I can disconnect it right there. But now when I turn the car on, we get lights. So easy. Okay, we know that works. Now we'll just add a connector and a switch right here. This happy little mess right here is our soldering station. I have a video on how I put all this together. It's got fans to pull fumes away through this charcoal filter. It's got lights, it's got little helping hands. Very useful if you do a lot of soldering. These are just 2-wire connectors that plug into one another, and we're just going to put that in line with our current wire. First we give it a cut, and then we can strip the ends of these wires. If you don't have one of these auto stripping wire strippers, I recommend it. We'll have a link down below to where I got this one. So useful. As part of my soldering station, I have this tray with pre-cut heat shrink tubing. So useful. In fact, I'm getting a little low. I need to cut some more. This is the heat shrink tubing. This is how I buy it. Hey, get back here. So I'm just going to refill these bays while I have the time. Future me will be really happy to see these all full. Go. You go in there. You all go in there. I have these 2 main sizes. This one, 1/16 of an inch it claims. And then these thicker ones, which are 1/8. And those go in there. Since they're the 2 I use the most, I make sure I always have a lot of it. I don't want to go in the wrong thing. But I can just go through and grab what I need and put it on the wires before I do my soldering. So now that can get hooked up to this guy, soldered, and then we can do the heat shrink. Wires get all twisted together here. A little bit of that. A little bit of that. There we go. Now the heat shrink tubing can slide over and give it a little heat to shrink it down. slide the next one over and give that a shrink. Very good. The other side is going to get a switch put in line, so we'll add that now. There we go. And then that tubing should go right over it. We add that, and then we can reattach the rest of this. So this goes like that. And then this gets attached. There we go, that gets done up, and we have a little heat shrink for that as well. Okay, our circuit is now complete again. All set here. I can now unplug my lights. Oop. And I can just leave this in there. Much easier to handle. And then I have this switch so I can turn the lights on and off. Yeah, nice. The only other thing I think I need is the front headlights. In order to reach the front, I think I need to just make these a few inches longer. Eventually, all of this will get attached to the inside of the car body, I think, with just this one sort of connector hanging off of it. But for now, I just need a little more length on these guys. Got everything soldered and lengthened. Let's just make sure it all still works. Yeah, it all still works. Terrific. The LEDs will eventually end up in the headlight spot here. To get it there, we have a few pieces. We've already printed these headlight surrounds, although that's the wrong one. Here we go. There, that'll go in there with a lens on it. But to keep the LED right where we want it, I've made these little cone parts. I just made these quickly in Fusion 360, and they fit an LED perfectly. That slides right in the back. And I'm thinking we put some reflective tape in there to help the light illuminate a little bit. But this will all live in there, like that. This is just an aluminum foil tape. I think we even got this from Harbor Freight, nice and cheap. And I want to cover this surface with the aluminum tape. Of course, the trick is getting this to go down in there. It doesn't need to be like perfectly flat with the surface. We're not even going to see this. It'll be covered by a lens. We just want it to be able to bounce more light back out. That looks okay. We can probably do better. But let's put an LED in there and see how it looks. I'm not sure if we'll be able to tell the difference between how much light these put out, but I bet our foiled one does a little better. We'll definitely tell once the lenses are on.
Oh, that's a lot brighter.
It is? All right. Terrific. Well, I'll get foil put on all of these, then we can see about how they're going to get installed in the car. Seems like my thumbnail is the best tool for this. Nature's Spudger. Got our cones all foiled up here. This is how they're going in the car. This part will go in like that, and that part will go in just like that. I'm going to put these things in temporarily for now so we can see how it looks. This will all get glued in place once everything has been sanded and painted, but that's a couple weeks off. The next thing we're going to do today is the lenses, and that will help us see how this whole thing is going to look once it's all put together. Here are my lenses. I modeled these in Fusion and then printed them out on our resin 3D printer. I did it with a transparent resin so that light can shine through it. We will need to sand the back where these supports are touching down. We do want that to be sanded and diffused, but the outer surface we want to be nice and shiny, and I think I'll do that by brushing on a layer of more of this resin and then curing it until it's nice and shiny. We'll do that now. I've got the same resin I used to print these. This is Tech Blue Clear version 2. And I only need just the tiniest amount of it. I'm brushing just the thinnest layer on here. I'm gonna really smooth it out. If we need to do more than one layer, I'll do that, but I don't want this to be a big glob of resin. It's easy to overdo it. So we'll just spread it out all nice like. Then I'll set it here on our curing machine. And I'm leaving the supports on for this just because it's easier to handle that way. Once this is all cured, we'll remove the supports. Okay, now we can set this to cure for a while. There we go. Have fun, little friends. After UV curing, I ran these through the wash again, and they're pretty shiny. I'll probably end up coming back and polishing the front surfaces. For now, let's just take the supports off and get these sanded and installed in our car. Yeah, I always end up getting lumpy backs wherever the supports are, but that's fine. I was planning on sanding the backs of these. I got the back sanded nice and flat, but then I decided that the fronts no longer looked pretty. So I'm just gonna wet sand those and then give them a polish, and it should look really, really nice. Got some 600 grit right here, and then I've got some plastic polishes to use. Now we do the plastic polish. This is the Novus system. There's, 3 grits, starting with the lowest grit here, and then we work our way down. Give everything a polish, or technically it's still sanding. Now we go to number 2, slightly more fine. And now the last step, last bit of polishing. Pretty good looking disc there. I guess we could probably get it a little shinier, but I'm pretty happy with that for now. Time to do a bit of a test. Eventually we're gonna fiberglass the inside of this body, but until then we're just gonna do a little temporary test, and I'll just tape my parts in place here. So that'll go in there. And then the front ones, I did not make these long enough.
Oh no!
These need to go all the way up there.
Hold, please.
Hold, please. Okay, quick lengthening session, and we have more wire than we know what to deal with. And now we can place our lights. Good to go. Just gonna set this down, and we will place our light fixtures on and see how they look. I'm going to put all of this together temporarily using some Butyl. This is just like a sticky, tacky, rubbery stuff meant to hold stuff in for a little while. And I'm going to put just a little bit on there just so we can see how this looks. That should just squish into place. There we go, and that holds it for a little bit. Unless I really yank on it, it'll pull it out. That goes like that. I'll just put a little bit around the edge of this thing. Boy, it really wants to stick to me. There we go. This can go in there. And then all of this can get pressed in. There we go, nice and temporary. And a little more sticky stuff to get the lens to stay. That sticks right in there.
Cute.
That's what we're going for. Let's plug it in and turn it on. Ooh, all right. That's working pretty good. It's nice and bright. There's a hot spot right in the middle. I'm wondering if there's anything we can do to change that.
I don't see it on camera at all.
Interesting. That's pretty great though, and it'll look great once it's all painted. We won't have that little blob of butyl there. It'll be nestled in there all nice like.
Let's try a taillight.
Here's the tail light. There's the red. There we go.
Yeah, that one has a hot spot.
It does have a hot spot in there. So maybe we like sand the end of the LED. There's a lot of stuff we can do to tinker with that.
Maybe some parchment paper?
Yeah, we could try and diffuse it some more. I could also put a white LED in there and paint these red, maybe. That might help. We definitely have a lot of stuff we can try. And I'm going to be tinkering with that over the next few weeks, I think. Those are some headlights and taillights back here. Everything's looking pretty cool. Like most of the things on this project, there's some fine tuning that I'll eventually have to do, but it feels good to have the groundwork laid for all of this. This little LED array that I bought worked awesome. Had resistors and everything built right in, plug it in, everything works. I'm very pleased. I'm also inspired to start finishing and sanding all of these parts because I really want to see what these look like once they're all painted and put together for the final assembly. But that's in the coming weeks. We have lots of other things to do on this car, and plus we have a whole bender head to make. So I hope you tune in and check out this whole series because we're having a lot of fun with it. Thanks so much for watching, and a special thanks goes out to the members of our Extra Credit Club. These are the fine folks who fork over their hard-earned cash so that we can pay to make these videos. Thanks so much. We can't do it without you. Please keep that up. We'll have a link to Patreon and also our YouTube memberships down below. That'll do it for me and my tiny car this week. Tune in next week for more of these kinds of shenanigans. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Happy crafting.